For many, the word test brings anxiety. We have so many tests in our lives: math tests, spelling tests, driver's tests, swimming tests, blood tests, medical tests. Each one of them comes with a grade, right? Maybe it's a pass fail, or maybe it's a positive or negative result. Either way, we want to pass the tests. Well, the Bible talks a lot about tests, but usually it's connected with the test of our faith. I mean, what does a test of faith look like? Well, it's not usually a short quiz or a quick checkup, but rather a test of faith usually extends over a period of time. Sometimes a test of faith can go on for many years because essentially a test of faith is continuing to believe even when you cannot see the outcome. See, the Bible tells us when you put your faith in God, then you can be assured and confident that with God, you will pass the test. Hebrews 11:1, it says it best. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. See those two words? Confidence and assurance. Even when you cannot see the outcome, you can have faith. The chapter goes on to give many examples of real people that were commended for their faith. People that, well, they weren't perfect, but they trusted God no matter what. One person that always strikes me of their great faith is Joseph. See, Joseph had a dream as a young boy that was from God. We can look back now and see that his dream was prophetic or predicting the future. He obviously was greatly impacted by this dream as he shared it with his entire family. Now, they were not too impressed with the dream, as in it, they were bowing down to Joseph. Perhaps he should have kept that dream to himself because it fueled the jealousy and hatred from his brothers toward him. Fast forward possibly 40 years later, and we see the fulfillment of that dream as his brothers bow down before him, not even realizing that he had survived their attempts to kill him, and he was now the top ruler in all of Egypt. Wow. Joseph's story of trouble and testing throughout those years demonstrates to us a person of faith. I mean, Joseph continued to believe God and keep trusting God even when he was thrown into a pit. And then he was thrown into jail, not one time, but twice, not even for doing anything wrong of his own, but he trusted God. Joseph passed the test of faith many times throughout his life. But we notice that in Hebrews 11, verse 22, that he's commended for his faith, not so much for what happened in his lifetime, but for what would happen long after he was gone. Catch this. It says, by faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. Well, Joseph had faith right to the end of his life that God would eventually free his people from Egypt. And when he did, he wanted them to take his bones out of there, back to his homeland. It's interesting to me that God commended his faith for something that he never saw happen. God loves faith. When we don't see the big picture, he does, and he wants us to trust him. I believe that there will be many things in my life and in yours that we may never know the outcome to, but by faith, we can live and die believing God is who he says he is and that he will do what he says he will do. So what are you facing today that requires faith? Is it a health challenge, a relationship struggle, financial or emotional strain? Put your faith in God and keep trusting, keep believing, and live expectantly, because that's what it means to pass the test of faith. And that's courageous living.